Like this? Like this?
There you go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody had a good New Year's and Christmas. We're going to go ahead and get the meeting started at 6:02.
The invocation this evening will be given by Pastor Daniel Moore of Creekmont Baptist Church.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity we have to gather together tonight. And thank you, Lord, for allowing us to live in a free country in America. And we thank you for what it stands for. Thank you, Lord, that you are in control. And thank you, Lord, that even though we may be blindsided by things that happen around the world and we may not know what's going to happen tomorrow, we know that you know. And Lord, we come to you tonight asking you for wisdom. And Lord, we ask that you would bless everything that goes on tonight. May everything be done for your honor and for your glory. Bless each and every one who's here tonight. Bless our mayor and our council members. First, in your name we pray. Amen.
Tonight's guest pledger is Ozzy Gonzalez. Ozzy is 9 and in the 4th grade. He enjoys playing a variety of sports and is ready to join the NFL when he grows up. Thanks for being here and welcome, Ozzy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Just before we get started, I'd like everybody to know that if we do run past 7 o'clock, Johnny Morales is going to keep us up to date on the Texans. So we'll be okay tonight.
Item 3, citizen comment. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the members of the City Council from responding to or speaking about any item that has not been properly posted. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole through the presiding officer. Insulting or slanderous language about anyone, councilperson or not, may be cause for termination of speaking privileges and removal from the council chamber. Please step to the podium when you are recognized and clearly state your name and address. Your comments are limited to 5 minutes. Remember that all speakers' comments or debate must be directed to or through the chair, not to the room at large or any other attendees.
Barry Plant.
This one here, can you hear me?
Oh, perfect.
Okay, Barry Plant, 3522 Miramar Drive, Shore Acres, Texas. Yeah, so I'm the guy that delivered the signatures for the petition prior to the Christmas holidays. That's me, but it wasn't for all the folks that got support from it. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I guess I'm a ringleader, and I love Shore Acres. I've lived there for 13 years. But not too long ago, I objectively realized that Shore Acres is on a very difficult path forward, perhaps catastrophic if the city continues to rely on hope that expenses will go down and not up, hope that residential taxes will offset expenses, hope that residents don't revolt due to tax increases. I certainly hope we don't have a hurricane, and I hope that we have a functional city council and staff, and that we don't have a major infrastructure failure, and that our city manager stays around after getting fired 3 times before. So we're really operating on a city of hope at this particular point. So that said, I think it's time to get these 2 cities married so that both of us will be stronger together. It's a win-win, I think, and it's a big win and a little win, but either way, it's a win-win. So I know you have a executive session that you're going to be going to decide on the date for casting that vote in the city of LaPorte. So I'm asking you all to pick May as that date instead of November. And the reasons why, I got several reasons why. Number one, there's a good probability that we would lose a city manager after his contract expires in April, unless you vote for this in May. With no city city manager, we don't have a city coordinator, emergency coordinator. During hurricane season, there's no floodplain administrator, there's no police chief, there's no supervision. It's just not a good situation for the city to be in. And with that, there's replacing somebody that quits is very tough, particularly in a case like this with the vote looming. So it's a major impact to a smooth transition because he holds all the information for the city. That's one. Second one is the loss of campaign momentum. You know, right now we have a campaign group, a core consolidation group. It's made up of both LaPorte and Shore Acres people. And if we move to a second round in November, we're going to be doing 2 basic campaigns when we should just do 1. That's a lot of extra work. And the longer it drags on, there's a higher and higher chance of a failure. I believe, because people just lose interest in it if there's a big, huge gap between. Then you get the dilution with the state and federal elections in November. And then finally, in early May is my birthday. So that's why I would like for you guys to consider having this election in May. I think it's very important that we do this. And that's all I got. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Plant.
Okay.
Philip Hoot.
Philip Hoot, 927 Seabreeze. I hope to make this 5 minutes, but bear with me if I run a couple minutes. Okay, bear with me if I run a few minutes over. I had to omit some details due to time constraints. I'll be happy to meet with anybody later if they want me to fill in some details, some side stories, because this whole thing is just a whole web of stuff that I'm fixing to talk about tonight, and there's no way I can include it all and get nowhere close to 5 minutes. I've been working with various planning and permitting entities for over 40 years, everything from national, counties, local entities, and various permitting operations for 40 years. My involvement with the city started with Debbie Wilmore when she was head of planning. Tommy Carpenter was code enforcement. Jay might remember Tommy Carpenter. I know Chuck does. I was instrumental in writing the 106 change from the 6th code to the next code. We went from 1 page of use codes to 27 pages of use codes. It took over 6 months. Sometimes we were meeting 2 to 3 times a week as a volunteer. People who badmouth this work clearly doesn't have a clue the monumental task it took to do this. It's ironic that we'll be honoring Tommy Mosier Monday because I used to sit in his office for hours and talk about abuses of the planning department and what we need to do to fix them. One of the reasons I'm on the ZBOA is because Dottie Kaminsky and Tommy Mosier wanted me there to stop these abuses. My problem started when I was assisting a new tenant in my building for an occupancy permit. I've done 3 of these before. They used to be fairly easy. This one took 6 months. During this time, I got a notice of violation for landscaping next to a residential neighborhood. My building is on Barber's Cut. I'm nowhere near a residential neighborhood, and I've informed planning of this. I finally finished the OP, and then my tenant, which is a totally separate company, is told that it was declined because of an NOV, outstanding NOV that everybody knew was illegitimate. That's right. Planning threatened my livelihood on an NOV that everyone knew was illegitimate. Luckily, Corby stepped in and put a stop to this. As some may know, planning does complaint-driven enforcement. Someone complains, they enforce. I love this. I think this is a wonderful idea. So in my first meeting with planning on this NOV, I asked, why are they picking on me? There's several businesses on Barber's Cut that looks a lot worse than mine. I was informed that somebody complained. Further investigation revealed the complaint was a site plan violation. So does anyone believe that a citizen dealt with all the trucks on Barber's Cut, drove my building, looked over and said, oh, that building has a site plan violation? No. Someone in the planning department targeted me. Think about that. There's only one thing I want council to find out for me tonight. Who targeted me and why? It appears now the residential NOV doesn't matter. They issued a new NOV to deal with. With my vast experience with these type of matters, tells me that this one is also very erroneous. The real reason I'm laying all this out for you tonight is this. You're spending around $1 million on a new permitting program to enhance the quality of life for the citizens of this community. And the people you have entrusted this task to has lied to, bullied, and threatened my livelihood of a citizen that's lived here for almost 70 years. So my question to you tonight is this: do you really think you're going to get the product you envision with these people in charge? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoot. Deborah Hoot.
Hi, I'm Deborah Hoot, and I reside at 927 Seabreeze here in LaPorte. Y'all saw the video that came up on the screen and the trucks that were going back and forth. That is right in front of our building. We videoed that so you could see it. Oh, there it is. And anyway, and you notice the trees there, they're crepe myrtles that are over 20 years old. They kind of squatted for 20 years old. But anyway, I'm speaking before City Council, hoping to get some help in fixing our problem with permitting. This problem has been going on since at least March of 2025, and now we've been hit with a notice of violation this past week. Philip has tried over and over to get this problem rectified, but it's still dragging on. I'm speaking from a woman's point of view here. He would tell me about the zoning issues, and I'm wanting to see more of what he's talking about. We drove by our building and see that it's clean with freshly mowed lawn and kept up. We drive by frequently. I asked him if other business owners were faced with the same problems. We drove up and down Barber's Cut, and maybe 10% of the businesses have nice landscaping, mostly because of the location and difficulty for plants to thrive in that environment. It's hard for the plants to grow. We drove up and down main streets of LaPorte and saw business after business with poorly landscaped properties, dead bushes, trees, and plants. I asked Philip why permitting disliked him. Actually, I said hated him so much. It's like we're being bullied big time. He's gone to Corby numerous times, hoping to get his help, along with various other department heads. Now I'm asking for your help. We would love to meet any of you at our building. Just let us know. The building address is 415 West Barbers Cut Boulevard.
Thank you, Ms. Hoot. Anybody else that didn't sign up wish to speak? All right, thank you.
Item 4, consent agenda. Item 4A, approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on December 8th, 2025. Item 4B, approve a joint election agreement and election services contract between the City of LaPorte, Texas and LaPorte Independent School District for the May 2nd, 2026 election cycle. Item 4C, appoint Emily Parsons to an open position on the City of LaPorte, Texas Animal Shelter Advisory Committee. Item 4D, authorize the city manager to execute an amended development agreement between Barry Lynn Sea Branch Storage Vault Self-Storage LLC and the City of LaPorte, Texas for the development of a mini warehouse self-storage complex on real property located at 9101 West Fairmont Parkway, LaPorte, Texas. Item 4E, authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Techline Sports Lighting LLC in the amount of $776,475 for the purchase and installation of upgraded lighting equipment for the Deotis Gay and Fairmont sports fields under buy board contract number 779-25. Item 4F, award bid 26004, Plant 4 ground tank replacement rebid to S&S Bolted Tank LLC for replacement of a 425,000-gallon galvanized bolted tank and authorize the city manager to execute a construction contract in the amount of $516,765 and provide a construction contingency in the amount of $50,000 for a total authorization of $566,765.
Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Sorry, Robbie had a question. 4D, what do you want? do you want to pull it or?
Oh, you're talking, yes, I'm sorry, 4D, and I apologize, Mayor, I didn't get the chance to visit with you before the council meeting. There is a minor change to one of the exhibits, and so I was hoping we could pull that and let Ryan walk through that minor change.
Okay, all right, so we're going to pull 4D to vote separate or?
Correct, for a small presentation, and then a separate vote.
Separate vote, okay, all right. Any other changes? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda minus 4D.
We have a motion by Mr. Engelken, a second by Mr. Bentley. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Ryan Vietlick, Director of Planning and Development. The item before you this evening is a development agreement amendment for property at 9101 West Fairmont Parkway. At your seats, you do see a slightly revised site plan. It does not really change much about this request. It is just trying to ensure that you all have the most up-to-date site plan. We did meet with Mr. C. Branch and his contractor last week. And they did clarify that the plan that you have in your packet shows the fence right along, the screening fence right along the property line. And when they actually went out and looked at the property, they realized that the fence does need to be set in from the property to protect that vegetative buffer that was required. So that is really the only change that you're seeing here. So there are two requests. If you remember from the original development agreement, it did state that that 15-foot vegetative area that is on the east and the northern property lines would remain undisturbed. As they have now developed the site, there are two areas where they are requesting to remove some of that vegetation area that you would see at the northern end of the property, the northeast corner of the detention pond. They do need to remove approximately 100 feet of landscaping there, or I'm sorry, of the existing vegetation there to install the outflow that is needed to go into the adjacent Harris County flood control channel. And then there is a small portion at the southeast corner of the property, and that is to facilitate the installation of a fire gate with a Knox box there. So those are the only two changes. We did receive correspondence from the neighboring neighborhood, their HOA, and they are in support of this minor change. And so staff is recommending approval of this.
Any questions?
So on this deal, will you be able to see like the sides of the storage from the road?
So you will more than likely not be able to. You may in the winter, you know, when some of the trees come down, but they are proposing an 8-foot privacy fence. So if you do see anything, it would just be the top of the buildings. But again, the intent is to maintain almost all of that existing landscaping or not landscape, that existing vegetation that's out there.
Okay.
Mr. Martin?
Ryan, what is the property to the west? Excuse me, to the east?
Property to the east would be a Harris County flood control channel. And then further beyond that would be the Pecan Crossing subdivision there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Ryan? No? Everybody
I'll
good?
make a motion that we accept.
Wait, hang on, Ms. Williams. All right, Chuck?
Since this, I'm assuming this is Robbie's. Is this Rob? Oh,
Chuck.
Chuck. Can we hear from Chuck about what his constituents are saying? They said that they were fine with the changes. Are your constituents okay with this whole development?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Chuck, I think you can go now.
Okay. No, the HOA is in favor of it. So with that being said, I'll make the motion that we accept this as presented.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Engelken, a second by Ms. Williams. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5A, the City Council will hold a public hearing to receive comments regarding a recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission to adopt Ordinance 2026-5022 for special conditional use permit SCUP 2025-0028 for the development of off-site parking within the General Commercial Zoning District with conditions on approximately 0.14 acres of land located at the southeast corner of West C Street and South 16th Street, LaPorte, Harris County, Texas, followed by discussion and possible action on the same.
All right, we will call the public hearing at 6:24.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Before you is a request for a special conditional use permit. This is for some off-site parking that is located at the southeast corner of West C Street and South 16th Street. Our Chapter 106 does allow for off-site parking for a use, but it does require a SCUP for that. So here is the property in question. It is located at 401 South 16th Street. The request is for parking for Metters Construction that you do see to the north there across West C Street. As you can see from the aerial, and you'll see in a picture here shortly, they're very constrained with parking there. And so they are requesting this as a way to have parking for their customers, their clients, as well as to help with a future marketability of this property. So the property in question is located within the General Commercial Zoning District. You have General Commercial to the north, which is West C Street and Metters Construction. Commercial to the south, which is also owned and operated by Metters Construction. To the west is Light Industrial. Again, is owned by Metters Construction, and then to the east is R2 Medium Density Residential, and that is vacant property. The future land use designation does call for this area, future land use designation of commercial. This is an acceptable use for this zone, as it is a support for a commercial use. As you can see here, here is the existing street view of the property. As you can see, very, very constrained parking there. So they are, the purpose of this is to provide overflow as well as required parking for current and future business needs, improve the property marketability due to limited on-site expansion options. So our code does require that, let's say Metters decides to move to another location and someone else wants to go into that property. We would look at it and determine if it required additional parking than what Metters had, they would have to provide that parking. And so, again, this is a way, I think, to make this property more marketable for any future type of development there. So the existing parking does include 7 spaces, with one of those being an ADA space. They are proposing 10 additional spaces, which would serve, again, this 311 and 313 South 16th. So the proposed concept plan, again, is 10 parking spaces. The vehicular access will be from West C Street. They are including pedestrian access with a 4-foot sidewalk from the adjacent property. They are also proposing a wood fence, as well as the required landscaping that would be required for parking. So here is just a picture of the site. As you can see, it currently is a vacant piece of property, and it would have off-site parking on it. So staff's analysis of the comprehensive plan, as I mentioned, is that this area is slated for commercial, which is compatible with the proposed parking lot. As I mentioned, the access would be off of West C Street, as well as a sidewalk to get those folks who would be parking there on that property, getting them back to 311 and 313 South 16th. They will have to submit a full site plan review for the city to review to ensure that it meets all of our requirements. There is water and sewer to the property, but again, there would be no need for that for this. Staff does believe that this is compatible with the surrounding properties, and they are proposing an additional condition, which I will talk about here shortly. We did mail 16 notices to property owners within 300 feet. We did not receive any notices in favor or in opposition. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did vote to recommend approval to this body with a motion of 7-0. They did add an additional condition which staff would ask to be carried through with if this was approved, and that is requiring the installation of a left turn only sign for exiting traffic. So traffic would turn left and go out to 16th Street. So we would not allow for right turns there on that property. So the recommended SCUP conditions, these are all pretty general conditions. Again, the only one would be, again, in that this proposed off-street parking would be used exclusively to serve the properties at 311 and 313 South 16th. And staff's happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Mr. Gary.
So Ryan, on that left turn only, I'm assuming that that street goes into the neighborhood.
That is correct. Yes, it does.
So we're basically just counting on the,
Mr. Gary.
we're basically just counting on the, people adhering to the sign, because they could turn, it says left turn only, but they could go right if they wanted to.
Yes. Yes.
And, another question, go back to that, the last picture that you had.
Mhm.
One more.
Sorry.
Okay, so these are the two buildings you're talking about with the parking beside it, correct?
No, it would be, if you were looking here, it'd be behind you. So,
Okay.
so this is
like- well,
looking
I get-
south.
The point I'm trying to make is the building across the street right there, is that not also Metters Construction?
It is, yes.
And how much parking do they have there?
I do not know off the top of my head. It appears from this picture, probably about 10 spaces.
Also?
Yes.
That's it. Anyone else? I have a question for you. Go back probably the picture before that, where the little hand-drawn one. Yeah. So you're saying they're gonna have to put a sidewalk in there? That's a street. Are they gonna have to dig up a street and put a sidewalk there? Or are they just gonna paint a crosswalk on there?
They're just going to paint a crosswalk.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're not having the extra expense of having
No.
it, okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Are y'all good? Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody in the public wish to speak on this? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the hearing at 6:30. Chuck's waiting now. He didn't want to jump the gun.
Make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2026-5025.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Engelken, a second by Ms. Williams. All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance 2026-5022, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of LaPorte, Texas, Chapter 106, more commonly referred to as the zoning ordinance of the City of LaPorte, by granting special conditional use permit number 2025-0028 to allow an off-site parking lot, which falls under NAICS 812-930, on approximately 0.14 acres of land described as, or located at 401 South 16th Street, and legally described as lots 1 and 2, block 789, LaPorte, Harris County, Texas. Making certain findings of fact related to the subject, finding compliance with the Open Meetings Act, and providing an effective date.
Item 6A, presentation, discussion, and possible action to approve ordinance 2026-5025, amending Chapter 62, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 2, vacating, abandoning, and closing streets and alleys of the LaPorte, Texas Code of Ordinances by revising regulations related to applications for closure of rights-of-way.
All right. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The item that is before you now is an amendment to Chapter 62 of our code. Generally, there's many things in this code, but what we're talking about this evening is basically street and alley closures and the ordinance and the rules that are kind of surrounding that. So to give a little bit of kind of history of why we are here, we did receive a request from an applicant who is a nonprofit organization. And they are requesting a street and alley closure, which will be before you all at a future meeting here. As part of it, they were asking if they would need to pay the land costs for that. And so currently, the code only states that if you're a governmental entity, that you're exempt from payment on that. So anytime that we look at making changes, we take a wholesale review of the ordinance. And so there were several items that we wanted to clean up, modernize. And so that is what a lot of what this is. The only real substantive change, again, is allowing council to have the flexibility to allow for a nonprofit entity. You all could waive that cost for the property. So I'll kind of go into that a little bit here. So what this amendment does is it clarifies the requirements and streamlines the administration, updating the exemption provisions for street and alley closures. It modernizes payment language to allow for approved forms of payments and directs the funds to the city's general fund. Currently, it states that if you are paying, you have to provide a cashier's check. That's a rather dated term. And so we're amending this to allow for more flexible payment terminology, allowing the city to accept approved forms of payment consistent with the city's current financial practices. We are also removing the owner's title policy requirement and removing a 6-month withdrawal timeline for incomplete applications. The owner's title policy is a fairly redundant requirement, as we already require that if you are adjacent to a street and alley closure, that you have to provide us proof that you own property that's adjacent to it. So we believe that was a little redundant. Also removing the 6-month withdrawal timeline. It does take some time, sometimes for folks to either get together the funds for it, or to get all of the utilities to sign off on it. So we were running up on a 6-month deadline quite often, and so again, there's no real reason for it. There's no state law. There's nothing like that requires it has to be acted on within a certain amount of time. So we are removing that. The section also directs a lot of the review and approval to the engineering and public works department. So we are assigning planning related review and recommendations to the director of planning and development or to their designee. This would be related to things like looking at our thoroughfare plan, looking at our comprehensive plan, determining if a closing of a street or alley would impact the transportation connectivity throughout the city. So that is one of the things that that the director of planning would look at. It would require written departmental recommendations addressing legal, planning, engineering, and operational impacts. It would require applicant provide a written consent from franchise utilities. And then the major one here is that it allows for discretionary exemptions from qualifying 501c3 nonprofit organizations subject to city council approval. It also changes the requirement that you have to exempt a governmental entity from payment to that you have the ability to. So it changes that shall to a may. I know that has been kind of a question as we've had that going through. So that gives that power back to the city council, and then just makes additional minor formatting and grammatical corrections for clarity and consistency. And that is all the staff has on that.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we amend the ordinance, accept the amendments of the ordinance, chapter 62.
Second.
Mr. Martin beat you. We have a motion by Mr. Guerra with a second by Mr. Martin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
This is ordinance 2026-5025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of LaPorte, Texas, amending Chapter 62, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 2, vacating, abandoning, and closing streets and alleys of the Code of Ordinances of the City of LaPorte, Texas by revising regulations related to applications for closure of rights-of-way, containing a repealing clause and a severability clause, finding compliance with open meetings law, and providing an effective date.
Item 6B, receipt of certification of petition to order a consolidation election for consolidation of the City of Shore Acres, Texas with the City of LaPorte, Texas. The City Council received notification on December 15th that a consolidation election petition had been received, the signatures had been verified, and the petition itself had been certified in an amount of signatures high enough to require a consolidation election by the City of LaPorte. Be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Lee? Was it?
Item 6C, presentation, discussion, and possible action to provide administrative staff direction on the City of Shore Acres infrastructure and financial assessment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
We don't normally.
I don't
see
get
you
to,
up there.
yeah, I don't get to be down here often, so if I look lost, it's because I am.
This is your birthday present. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. I
Happy
wouldn't
birthday.
rather spend it anywhere else but here. Anyway, so just wanted to visit with council a little bit in anticipation of the possibility of impending nuptials. I'm not sure what we're doing here. I didn't do that. There we go. Okay. So I have spent time and staff and myself and Clark and I, we've spent a little bit of time with going back and forth with Shore Acres just to identify things. I would point out to you that this concept of consolidation just doesn't happen much. And so we're really just trying to feel our way through, well, what are the potentials? What are the impacts? What do we have to be prepared for in an event that we do get tied together at the hip? So just want to share with you some of the things that we've been going through and be prepared to honestly accept any input or any questions you have. I may not have answers to, but you will certainly send me on the trail to find those answers. All right, so just a little bit about Shore Acres, their ad valorem situation. And they have a total tax levy of right at $1.4 million and an average collection rate of about between 96 and 97%. Our collection rate runs a little bit higher. We're usually closer to 98, 90, 99%. But that's just a little bit about where they are. And so I thought it might be helpful to look at what that means. Obviously, their levy is their tax assessed value times their rate. The city, as it currently stands, has a slightly higher rate than LaPorte. And so I thought it'd be maybe helpful to figure out what that rate or what that total assessment would be for the same properties at LaPorte's rate. And that's just right under $1.2 million is what I would estimate the value of revenue. Average home value in Shore Acres, according to HCAD, is $235,000, which is slightly higher than average home value in LaPorte. Generates at the current rate in Shore Acres, it's $1,900, almost $2,000. At LaPorte's rate, it drops down to it's just under $1,700. So homeowners would have a monthly difference of $24.54 at the new LaPorte rate. All right, so this is just a very quick financial snapshot that was provided to me by the city of Shore Acres. Their total unencumbered balance is about $1.3 million, which nets out to, if Dobie was here, he'd speak in terms of working days of working capital. So in our world, that's about 168 days to the using data that has been provided. It's about 168 days of working capital. Which is, we always strive for more than that, and we've been successful in doing that. But that's also 68 days. It's pretty respectable. Many communities don't make that much, so I'd say that they, at least in terms of fund balance, as measured in days of working capital, is very good. All right, so we do want to. So one of the things as we and again, the more time we have to think about it, the more questions we come up with. And so one of the questions that was raised was, what about any outstanding debt that it's my understanding that we would assume? And so I do have been made to understand that there is a Texas Water Development Board loan that was issued back in 22, I believe. I'm sorry, it looks like 19. So going back to 1920 timeframe. And so they currently have a balance of 3.745. So nearly $4 million in Water Development Board loans that are still outstanding, that it's my understanding that the city would have to be responsible for assuming payment for. Outstanding contracts, so we looked a little bit about, well, what agreements are potentially in place, and some of those have been provided to us. We haven't had a chance to see them all, but the things we know about is they have an outstanding agreement with Decker Disposal. That provides their garbage collection, innovative utilities operations. They do their public works related activities. I do understand that contract is slated to terminate in March. And so I don't know what will happen if they'll go month to month, but we'll have to figure that out. And many of these agreements do have termination provisions. So Clark has been provided with what we have to look at. Well, what would the impact be in terms of potential termination if we were to consolidate? I do want to point out one of the things that I did learn that I thought was interesting is there is an agreement with San Jacinto College. Shore Acres does derive some revenue from patrolling the maritime campus. And so whether or not San Jack will continue that operation, I don't know, but I thought that was interesting and worth making note of. But they do also have Linebarger that does their delinquent tax collection, which some of you would have been here several years ago where we made the decision to do delinquent, I say delinquent tax, but delinquent court fines and fees. So they have two, Linebarger does delinquent court and Purdue does delinquent tax for the city of Shore Acres. For us, Purdue does our delinquent taxes and we do our delinquent court fines and fees in-house. So we don't have a consultant that does any delinquent court fines and fees for us. And council had that discussion several years ago that we started doing that. And Yellowstone is their landscaping company. And again, as soon as we have those agreements, I'll be furnishing those to Clark and we'll get an understanding of what it's going to take in terms of terminating those agreements, if that's ultimately what it comes down to. I just want to take a little snapshot of the water rates. Average water charge for 4,000 gallons of consumption in the city of Shore Acres is $26.40. So wanted to compare that to LaPorte, and our scale is a little more complicated, has a lot more variations in meter sizes and how you calculate the rates. And so, but I will say most of our residential customers are on 3/4 inch meters. And so I think the best comparison I could come up to will be the $21.27 for the same amount of water consumption. So pretty close in price. Looking at sewer rates, average for 5,000 gallons of sewer in the city of Shore Acres is $20.90. Similar number for us for the customer with, again, the 3/8 inch meters, $22.50. So we're a little more expensive for the sewer charge. Shore Acres are now, so that's not indicative of the entire bill. So your entire utility bill is going to include your water, your sewer, your garbage collections. For us, there's a drainage utility fee. All of that goes on our bill. And our minimum utility bill in the city of LaPorte is $39.19. And for the city of Shore Acres, it's $70.07. So for a difference of $37.88. So initial very high level assessments have been conducted related to their actual infrastructure and the assets on the ground and those sort of things. And so Public Works has been in contact with some of their folks to identify to the best we can some of the things that are ideas and concerns that we would have. They do not have a GIS system as we do, but apparently there's pretty good baseline data that we could recreate. We could start by recreating the system. Street signs, obviously, the thing that you don't necessarily think about, but their street signs don't meet our standards. So we would have to replace street signs. Their paving conditions, we believe there's about 37,000 linear feet of asphalt that needs to be repaired, and about 36,470 linear feet of concrete that would need attention. And then some small sidewalk and lighting repairs that would need to be needed as well. I'll run through this just hit some of the highlights. Lots of open ditches. There is hardly, if any, enclosed storm sewer in the city of Shore Acres. So we're estimating right at $117,000 linear feet of open ditches that would have to be maintained. A little bit about their garbage collection. I'm sorry, wastewater collection. They've been looking at the system and we've identified, I think, Ray, please chime in, but I think we understand that there aren't any outstanding violations, but we've identified that many of their manholes will need some attention pretty early on. Now we get to solid waste. We would anticipate to serve them the way we serve our residents, is that we would have to add some staff on the residential collection and then on the heavy garbage. So it's one truck and one person on the heavy garbage, and then additional truck and associated personnel on the residential garbage collection. That's all I have so far. Yes, sir.
Corby, I was curious, what is the entire staff count from Shore Acres?
Their entire staff count, I'm not sure how many positions they have on their position roster, because I know they've lost a number of people lately, so I don't have an adequate number, but I can certainly get that.
50?
No, I don't. People?
Yeah, I was just curious, approved positions, more than 50?
No,
100?
I suspect less than a dozen. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Plant, hang on. Does anybody have an objection with him coming to the microphone and telling us? Okay, you want to come up to the microphone and?
I think the question that was asked is what's the size of the city staff? So you noticed that they had contracts for the big work. That's the public works, the IOU contract. That's a contract. There's not any people associated with that. I can't answer to that. But as far as city employees, there's 3.5 people. There's a half a maintenance person there, believe it or not. Takes care of the odds and ends. And then you get the city manager, and you have the city secretary, and one in training, because our city secretary is leaving after she sells her house, and then we have the clerk person. So there's your 3.5 there. Then the police department, which is 24/7, 365. I think there's a total of 7 people there to get that. And so that's pretty much it. You're talking less than 20 people when you put it all out there on the table. It's not a lot of people. So hopefully that kind of puts a little bit of a cap to it.
Absolutely. And one other thing that I neglected to include in the slide, but their water meter system's different. So we'd anticipate changing out their water meter system to match ours and integrate into our system. So they're currently with Badger, as I understand it, and we have Neptune. And so those systems don't necessarily talk to one another. So, at about $250 per meter, and I think there's about 740 connections. Yeah, it was on the chart. I think 700. I'm trying to go from memory. So that gets about a couple $100,000 in meters to integrate the systems. But no reason to think that once that happens, it wouldn't be like any other neighborhood that we would just immediately start reading the utility consumptions.
Mr. Martin?
Corby, do you have any cost estimates, all these repairs that are needed? I think 7 miles of concrete streets and asphalt roads and manhole covers and everything, equipment, personnel. Any idea what that would cost?
No, sir, we've not gotten that deep into perform a cost analysis. But I would also say that you know, those are scenarios or things that would obviously have to be addressed, but they don't have to be addressed. They wouldn't necessarily be addressed day one. So we would work very diligently to come up with a responsible plan for
Well,
to address it.
that's the question that I keep getting asked is how much is it gonna cost? And how much of a tax increase are we looking at for the city of LaPorte to do all these upgrades? So can you answer those questions? Not at this time, right?
So I can certainly, I mean, we could go and calculate an average, cost to replace asphalt, average cost to replace concrete. We can come up with that. I think with anything, whether it's this or anything else that we're doing, it's typically done with the eye of not changing the tax rate. And so that becomes the responsible component, right? How do we, if those are needs that we identify that have to happen, how do we do that without changing our actual rate that our citizens are paying? So that's a long-winded way of saying that if whatever, we can identify the ultimate cost, but how it happens would really be governed by the resources that we normally have available.
And the other question that I've been asked is, if we don't raise the tax rate and we do incur these costs, how does that affect our bond rating? Which recently we have finally achieved AAA status, I believe.
That's a great question, and one that we discussed with our FA, and our bond rating is really based on our strength as how do we do business, and it's looking at our credit worthiness, and we do not anticipate that this would impact our bond rating. It would potentially impact our bond capacity, which is how much money can we go out in the open market and borrow without impacting our rate. And the reason there would be a potential impact there is, as I mentioned, there's the Texas Water Development Board outstanding debt. And so if we take that on, then that just becomes $3.7 million less money that we can borrow without paying some other things down that are currently outstanding for the city of LaPorte. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Corby, I was curious. I checked with HGAC if there was any type of process they had. They weren't familiar with any. Rick Guerrero from HGAC suggested that could we contact anybody from TML? There's a person on TML, what I'm being told by HGAC, that has a template for handling stuff like this. I don't know if anybody's contacted TML.
We've had several conversations with, I don't know if we talked to TML. I'm looking at Clark. I have not personally talked to TML, but Lee has.
Yeah, we visited with Bill Longley. We have not really talked about what happens after a process, but we can certainly.
Right, but certainly as far as a lot of the legal questions and issues that we've had to work through, to get to this point, yes, we've consulted with TMLs and others, and they've been helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Williams?
Going back to the street repairs, would it be fair to say that it's on the table for the city of LaPorte to do what they've done in the past, which is to defer those streets back to Harris County and have all of that ditch mowing and all of that street repair go back on Harris County's plate? Is that on the table?
I don't think so.
Because in Lomax, all three of our major streets are county now, and they used to be city, and the city sent them to be county.
So I don't know how that transpired. I do know that you mentioned many of the streets in the Lomax area are maintained by the county. It is not an avenue we have explored. Certainly, we could ask and get an answer to that, but the short answer is no. We haven't run that trap.
Just mentioning that it's out there. And it's been done before. In the case of people who are questioning how we're going to pay for all of these road repairs, that Harris County now maintains H Street, L Street, and P Street in Lomax. They also maintain the drainage ditches in Lomax, and they also mow the drainage ditches in Lomax. All of those items were on the city of LaPorte's table for many, many years until the city turned them over to the county. So I just wanted to mention that that option is out there for that. And I believe that's one of the more expensive items that we were looking at
Well,
on.
why hasn't Shore Acres already done that?
I can't tell you why Shore Acres hasn't done that, and I can't tell you why the city of LaPorte did
I
it.
don't know if
I
it's-
believe it had something to do with wanting our bond rating up and wanting all of these days of money set back. The city of LaPorte turned over those roadways and that financial responsibility to Harris County.
I think Mr. Plant might have an answer. Do you want to?
Yeah, so you can probably shed a little light on that. Currently, there are two roads that are maintained by the county. Shore Acres Boulevard all the way to Miramar. That's the longest and biggest road. And then Sunrise, which feeds to the Port District 5 on the south end. That's also a county road. Other than that, the rest of them, I believe, are all city Shore Acres. So there is a smattering of it. In terms of feet, I can't answer that.
And
Mr.
Corby,
Plant.
what were the roads that need to be replaced? I think one of them is the one that belongs to the county, not Sunrise. What was the other one you said?
Well,
Shore Acres Boulevard?
so I'd have to, let me see if that's in our notes. Ray, do you happen to know if those streets are in the linear feet? They are. So those could come out. The 37,000 linear feet
Right.
do include those. So those could come out.
Okay. So what are the names of the streets? That's what I was asking.
That are included in our numbers?
In that linear feet that you were talking about. Do we have the street names?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Ray does. Ray's got it.
That was, Shore Acres Boulevard and Sunrise.
Okay. So, and both of those belong to the county.
We'll
Right.
we'll need to determine what portion of Sunrise and Shore Acres Boulevard, if it's the entirety or not.
Okay. And then those are the two streets that are in the linear feet that need to be replaced.
They're included in this number, so that would be a deduction.
Okay. So that would reduce those feet. And then how many, did I hear you right, Mr. Martin? You said there were 7 miles of roads that need to be replaced?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions for Corby? No. Mr. McLaren?
So do you see, anything like that we could consolidate, that would actually save us money on, like, say, for instance, like PD, right? Like, if they have 6 or 7 police officers now, like our police department potentially could cover that with like 2 or 3 people, right? Are the same, staff that we have right now.
Yeah. I think that there are certainly, and again, there's a lot more. I want to be clear. We've not ran every trap or even identified all the traps to run. But certainly will be things that we will be able to absorb and provide an adequate level of service without any increased cost to the city of LaPorte. At this point, we would not anticipate adding another officer to service or to patrol Shore Acres at this point.
But will we keep the police officers that currently there?
So that is a very, very good question. Where I stand today is very likely not. And here's why. LaPorte officers have a very rigorous process to go through to become LaPorte officers. And any officer would have to meet those standards. As we have openings, if there is a Shore Acres officer that would like to apply and can meet those standards, then certainly. But I would not anticipate changing our standard for our folks to bring personnel on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just thinking like, if you have the revenue from Shore Acres and then you cut the expenses from, PD or what, different expenses that Shore Acres has now that we could absorb, with the city of LaPorte, well, that makes that, it actually brings money to us that, we don't have to spend like that they did have to spend. Make sense?
Absolutely. Are there services that we would provide at no additional, we wouldn't have to add staff or equipment or any? Absolutely. I wouldn't anticipate that we'd add any more park staff to cover their parks related functions. PD is another. And obviously there's services that we already provide, EMS, jail, fire, animal control. Those are services that are provided now at a fee. I mean, they pay a fee, but we would not anticipate any additional cost to LaPorte to provide those services.
Ms. Williams?
If Harris County were to take over Shore Acres, would LaPorte still have to provide EMS, fire, animal control, and would Harris County pay the city of LaPorte to do that?
So the short answer is Harris County would not have to. Could you negotiate an option where Harris County did? I used to work in a community where the county did help pay for EMS services. So is it legal? Yeah. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? I don't know.
You have much more hope than I do.
I do. Hope springs eternal, especially when you're 51. Anything else?
Also,
Mhm.
did the city of LaPorte recently hire a Shore Acres police officer off of their force?
Yeah. But it come from us first. So we had an officer that left, went to Shore Acres, and came back. So yeah, that did
But
happen.
if LaPorte had an opening,
Sure.
the Shore Acres police officers have shown that they're perfectly willing and able to come and work for the city of LaPorte if they would like to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would hope to make clear that nothing that we would anticipate would preclude anybody that currently lives in Shore Acres, works in Shore Acres. If there's an opening and they're qualified, then by all means, I think we would want to consider those folks. But having said that, I do think it's important that that our standards remain intact.
One more thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
If the county did take over Shore Acres,
Mhm.
would they be allowed to have outdoor burning, providing there's no countywide burn ban, and also fireworks on all the major holidays?
So that's a very good question. I have not vetted that. It is my assumption. It is my assumption that the answer is yes, but I want to be clear that's an assumption that we've not vetted.
You'd have to look into that. We would. We would, because I don't know without doing a little more research
Yeah.
and not knowing the county and their inclinations.
Yeah, if they've got, I know they have a fire marshal that comes out so I know elsewhere in the state of Texas, out in the county, that's the way it works. Is that the case here?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do all that in the county. Yeah. That's why they have the fireworks stands in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right out here on 225 in the county. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the response time from the sheriffs to Shore Acres?
So that's a very good question. Also a trap I haven't run. And so I don't know. And I think it's like anything else. It depends on where they're responding from. I don't know how often they're here providing security at Sylvan Beach. I don't know. In part because they've not had to respond to us or to Shore Acres. So,
I reached out to the sheriff's department and their closest cluster that can respond is in Friendswood,
mhm.
is what I was told. So I'd be interested if you could,
Yeah, we
run that
can
and
reach
see.
out and see how, I mean, if we can get any guidance on how often, I mean, this is anecdotal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, you know, I know that they provide security at Sylvan Beach, and I've, you know, had seen them there on a number of occasions. Not sure if that's standard practice, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a constable car, not the sheriff. I don't know. But we can see what we can find out about PD response times and do the best we can to provide
Okay.
information.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
In reference to your question of that, I think I can help Corby out on that. As far as Harris County's got districts just like any other police department does, just like a Port Pasadena. Only their districts are districts. I mean, it may be from Channelview all the way to Friendswood, and they only have so many police officers, so many deputies per that district. Because I know for a fact that there's some, I mean, that may have to, if they respond for backup in Channelview, he may be coming from Friendswood. So, I mean, I would not want to be the guy that has to wait on the guy from Friendswood to come back me up over here.
Mhm.
So if you have a call, if by some odd chance, Shore Acres, if they did go county, that is one of the detriments that they would be suffering, is the fact that if they ever had a call like that, either we in LaPorte would have to respond, or they would have to wait and hope and pray that there was a unit close to respond to that. And in reference to, just to help Corby out a little bit on Sylvan Beach, back when I was working with the PD in Pasadena, I had friends with Harris County that actually worked the parks, but they don't work just one park. They work the
Mhm.
parks. They go from here to Clear Lake to every other park. And their one, if you could say their one gripe was the fact that they were understaffed at these parks. So that answers that question.
Thank you. Who would provide ambulance for the county in Shore Acres? Who would provide ambulance and where would they come from?
So I'm assuming the question is if we didn't,
Correct. If they go county,
who provides EMS? That's another good question that I don't have an answer to. I don't, I know many parts of the county, they've established their own ESDs that fund, you know, an ambulance service or pay for, you know, a contractor like a Windsor or Arcadian. And so I don't know exactly how that would work if we didn't provide an ambulance service.
can you speak to what happens with their residential sewage? Does it go to OGA still, or I'm calling it the wrong thing? But
Gulf Coast. So
yeah,
it's
Gulf Coast.
Gulf Coast. All of their sanitary waste or their sewer goes to Gulf Coast waste. Is that right? All right.
And that's at no cost?
Yeah, I think
It's no cost?
they need their process needs a certain amount of stuff.
Enzymes?
Yeah, to keep it whole and make it work. And so they take on Shore Acres and some from us as well at no cost.
Which is Bay Colony and, is it Sunrise? Shady Oaks?
Yeah, south side of town.
Yeah. And so there's none of that comes to our.
It doesn't come to our treatment
processing,
plant.
so there's no
We
impact
just,
on our infrastructure for that.
other than the transmission.
Correct.
Other
But
than
that's
that.
already being transmitted now, so we don't. have to-
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Chuck?
Hey, I was curious, looking through the backup material, I didn't see anything about any CIP projects. It would appear they don't have a CIP.
So just looking through their financials, they did provide 5 years of profit and loss statements. And to the best I can tell, there's a few years where there were some pretty extensive capital expenditures. And you can see in those years, they overspend to do that. And so, but no, I do not believe that there's a comprehensive 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan to address their capital related needs. From what I can see, and this is again only the past 5 years of just financial statements, there's a couple of years where obviously they had some big ticket items. And then there's the bonded indebtedness with Texas Water Development Board that was to address an issue that was capital related.
Sounds like a lot of open-ended questions.
There is, and I apologize, but I just wanted to bring to you what I had, and also get a little, feedback on if you guys have other questions that I can go back and, we can work on.
Does anybody have more questions for Corby? Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Item 6D, the city council will meet in closed session under Texas Government Code Section 551.0712, consultation with attorney, to discuss legal issues associated with potential consolidation of the city of Shore Acres, Texas, with the city of LaPorte, Texas.
We will go into recess at 7:13. Johnny, do you have a score update for us? Hasn't started yet, okay. Thought it started with 7. Oh, 7:15? All right, there. That's the dirty side of it.
That's where we're at now.
training mode. 7-6.
All right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order at 8:33.
Item 6E, presentation, discussion, and possible action to adopt ordinance 2026-5027 to select a uniform election date to hold an election for consolidation of the city of Shore Acres, Texas with the city of LaPorte, Texas.
Looking for a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you need it to say?
You,
I'd like to make a motion that we do call an election for May of 2026 for the LaPorte portion of the consolidation what are we calling it?
Uh,
Election, is that fine? That.
Second.
Who seconded? Guerra, okay. We have a motion by Ms. Williams. We have a second by Mr. Guerra. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
This is ordinance 2026-5027, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of LaPorte, Texas, ordering a special municipal election to be held on the second day of May 2026 to approve or deny the following proposition. Shall the city of Shore Acres, Texas be consolidated with and known as the City of LaPorte, Texas, designating the places and manner of holding the election and providing for the posting and publication of notice, providing a savings clause, finding compliance with the Open Meetings Act, providing an effective date.
Item 7A, report of the Laporte Drainage and Flooding Committee meeting held on January 12th, 2026.
Yes, we did meet earlier this evening, drainage meeting, discussed, we're given updates on current drainage projects and also projects we're working with Harris County Flood Control. We set the date for the next meeting to be February the 9th.
Item 7B, administrative reports.
Man, two times in one night.
I promise not to filibuster and read to you the Constitution or anything ridiculous like that. So the mayor requested a couple of updates under the admin reports section. So one of which had to do with outstanding positions that we're still recruiting for. So I wanted to run through some of those really quickly and just give you an update on where we are. Airport manager position, that's the position that you guys added in this year's budget. We're advertising for that position. Of course, it's a new position. We've had 70 resumes. Only 20 of those had any airport-related experience. We've conducted phone interviews with a handful of those. We do intend to start interviews, but want to bring one of the FBOs in to participate in that interview because they will be working hand in hand with that person. So that's been a little bit difficult to get on the books because of scheduling, but we're working to get that done. All right, so computer support specialist 3, we lost someone in IT. And that position is a current position. We only have one opening at the time. It was posted in December, over 100 resumes received. And so the good news there is that tells me that we're being pretty competitive on salary and pretty aggressive on where we're posting for these positions. So anyway, so that interview process will start here very shortly as well. Deputy fire marshal, we lost a deputy fire marshal, so that position needs to be backfilled. It was posted just a few weeks ago, so we'll have more information on how that recruitment goes here shortly. I'm sorry, I missed the equipment operator. For Public Works, we've got 2 positions. They're gone. So these positions we see some turnover in the operator positions, but we recruit those, and I want to say one of those is filled by now, but in any event, but we're in the process of working on that. Paramedic 2, we've got 2 of those to backfill as well. Those were posted last month. One was posted in December. The most recent one was posted this month. Park maintenance worker 2, also a backfill. One position that's been posted, over 50 resumes received on that one. Police dispatcher or telecommunicator is the most official name for it now. Have one of those in PD that is a backfill that's been posted. And that's a position of high turnover as well, in large part because of the demands of working in dispatch. It's a really, really tough job. So it is not uncommon that we routinely are looking for a telecommunicator. Utility 2 operator, 1 to backfill in Public Works as well on the utilities team. We've received 30 resumes on that one. Fire marshal admin. One of the great things about LaPorte is it's a great place to work. It's also a great place to retire from. And so the admin has announced she's retiring as of last week. And so that was posted last week. And so we'll be recruiting for that position. And then lastly, and certainly not leastly, the rec center rental specialist, that's a backfill that's also a high turnover because it's really not a lot of hours. And so, and not a lot of certainty in terms of what your scheduling is going to be like. Any questions on outstanding positions? I'm trying to be fast. All right. So the other thing that should have been circulated, there was a question to get some data on the happenings of the animal shelter. And between December 8th and January 7th, we've had 133 animals in our facilities. 54 cats, 64 dogs, 2 ducks that they handled. That's on your list, but those were actually, they didn't actually go to the shelter. They were picked up and disposed of. And the same with possums, raccoons, and skunks. So those are things that they literally deal with everything. So our current status is 72 animals in the shelter. 39 are dogs, and that's our capacity for dogs. 33 cats. We have more room for cats, but we've been very successful in adopting those cats out because of a relationship with Pet Supply Plus, which has been a great partner on handling that. And then lastly, we've not had to turn anyone away for services. So during this period. Okay. Any questions? No questions. Okay. And then lastly, there was, I think it made social media some concern about speed limit signs that were altered on Spencer Highway. We have gotten to the bottom of that and got it resolved. And as we sit here today, those signs have been returned to normal. I think there was a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit sign that was removed from approximately Spencer and 23rd Street. And so the speed limits never changed because those are set. But for whatever reason, the sign disappeared. We think the county was involved. We've gotten it resolved. There's a sign back now. So as soon as you hit the sign, head it west on
East.
Spencer. Head it west.
West, you're right. Sorry.
Head it west on Spencer. You can accelerate to 45 miles an hour. And now, so
Faster.
all is well in the world now. Yeah, absolutely. So any questions? Did I cover everything?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Well, there you go. You got to thank you. All right, council comments. Ms. Williams.
No comment.
Okay. All right. Mr. Engelken.
Happy New Year, everybody, and good meeting, and we'll get home in time to watch the second half.
Mr. Bentley.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Alexander, happy birthday. Chief, I want to congratulate you on having a full complement of patrol officers. I think it's the first time since I've been in council that had many officers, we had any vacancies. I know telecommunicators are a constant turnover. That just goes with the territory. Thank you. Very good job. Thank you.
Mr. Lunsford.
No comment.
Mr. McCauley. Mr. Guerra.
No comment.
Mr. Martin.
Happy birthday, Corby. Nothing else.
Mr. McLaren.
Same. Happy birthday, Corby.
All right, good. Okay, real quick, happy birthday, Corby. We had a young man who was part of our internship with the emergency management. His name is Ernie Quimby. He participated this last summer, and he let us know that he finished his education and he got hired at the Texas A&M University as an emergency management specialist in their engineering medicine department. So great job. Thank you, Matt, for a good program for the internships. Great. And then animal control, Corby mentioned it. The owner of Pet Supply Plus contacted me and said he loves working with the animal department. And over the last week, they got rid of 13 cats. So apparently we take them cats and then they get them adopted out. And it usually happens over the weekend. So yeah, they've been moving cats really well. All right. Happy birthday, Corby. And with that, we will close the meeting. We had a young man who was mayor for a day. That went really well. A little 9-year-old, he got to ride on fire trucks and go eat with the police chief and the 2 fire chiefs. and he had a really good time. He even got to go supervise the construction next door, got his own hard hat, and so he really had a good time. So, all right, and with that, we will close the meeting at 8:44. Yeah. Well, the work does, because. What do you mean?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, appreciate it. Yes, sir. That do okay for you? Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, good to see you. Good seeing you guys.
Yes.
No shirt here. All right. Is there a game about it? Yeah, I know. Who would have known? Who would have thought? Yeah.